Welcome back to Tran's Play A Little Lily Princess. Today is June 13th, 2016. It is about 9 p.m. We are going to do week 19.
And I am nearly perfect. Look at these stats. I am clearly very good at this.
Hold on. So out of 7 stats, 4 are max. So that's about half. A little over half.
Whoa. No, that's 4 sevenths. That is more than half.
That's what I said. A little more than half.
Yes, but if you think about it, if you want to do it total points, you add all up, I'm way closer because these are pretty close to max. So really it's out of 70. I'm doing pretty good.
All right. It's out of 70.
So I'm only missing...
You're missing 10 points.
Yeah. 60 out of 70? I don't know what that is, but that's not bad.
All right.
Tell me I'm not good. Okay, patience, sympathy, and grace. Grace is the angel thing.
Somehow after that conversation with you, I feel like you really do need those things.
Thanks. Sympathy. Should sympathize with my need for stats. Okay. Let's have a little tea party. I know I'll fail at least once, so let's give it 2 shots. And let's see. Grace and patience can come from this one, so let's do... Oh, should I go for the bigger patience move? I really need more grace. Grace is really low. Let's dance. Okay, done. Oh, you... Ah! So much failure.
No, that's about average for you. You went up... you went up 4 points. Or 6 points. You went up 6 points.
That's pretty good.
That's about average for you.
Yeah. That's not bad. That was 66 out of 70. That's got to be an A.
It's amazing how, our low expectations for you.
Whoa, what's our? Who is this our?
Me and Emily.
Don't bring Emily into this. It's just scary. All right, I'm going.
Where is that girl? Where is she?
Lavinia, what are you doing?
Where is your little pet, Sarah? Look what she's done now.
Emily, what have you done?
Lavinia held up a pair of shredded stockings. Ruined. Completely ruined. And she did it out of spite. Where is that girl? She ought to be whipped. I'll have her.
It's probably the cat. You will not.
What did you say?
You've been letting Tibble sleep in your rooms. He's got at your stockings, not Becky. That's claw marked. I was right. I knew. And you can't blame him either, because he's just a cat, and that's what cats do.
You stupid, fat-faced fool.
Rude. Girls! You almost did that. You got all set to roll. You got all high, like...
Well, I thought she was yelling at you again.
Does she always have that? Oh, I thought she had a fancy hair bow. That's the Lavinia's dress. Okay.
Lavinia's enraged tones had attracted extra attention.
Lavinia, I'm surprised at you, shrieking and carrying on like a fishwife. What a way to behave. You ought to follow Sarah's example. Sarah is always a model student. You could learn a great deal from her.
Lavinia's head jerked as if she had been struck a blow. The ruined stockings drifted, forgotten from her numb hands. Yes, Miss Minchin.
Okay, was she always smiling like that?
I don't know. Yes, she was always smiling like that.
Okay,
what difference does it make?
I don't know. What is this week 23 thing?
It means you have to wait until week 23.
Okay, so I have to keep 3 sympathy and 3 belief. I have to remember this.
You're not going to remember this.
Okay, I haven't talked to... care about Lottie.
Not really.
I like Erlgar better. She's all...
Lottie brings out Emily.
Yeah, that's true. But I haven't talked to her in a long time. I don't know. I just wish I knew if I was going to run out of time.
Well, too bad.
Oh, come on.
Lottie had climbed up into the window nook, her little nose pressed against the glass, but what she was looking at, Sarah could not see.
Lottie, are you watching something?
Sarah, Mama.
The little girl ran, stumbling, to Sarah's embrace.
Wasn't watching, I was thinking.
What were you thinking about?
Horses.
Oh, yes.
Sarah brushed Lottie's curls with her hand in a comforting manner.
Lottie, is there a reason that horses frighten you so? Perhaps she was bitten by one once, but if that is not the reason, I don't want to suggest it to her. Horses have very large teeth, but they almost never bite people.
It's because they can turn into monsters. Like the one that killed my mama.
A horse killed your mother?
Lottie nodded, her eyes wide.
That's why my papa shot it, like yours with the tiger.
Was it a wild horse?
It seemed a somewhat morbid topic of conversation, but Sarah could not help being curious. There were not many stories of monstrous horses in her repertoire. Wild stallions might stampede, and a fairy horse might take off with a rider on its back, never to be seen again, but monsters?
It was her horse. I don't want to talk about horses.
No, I suppose you don't. It must have been a riding accident. A horse can't live with a broken leg. If the horse fell, that could be how Lottie's mother was injured, and why her father had to shoot the horse. Lottie doesn't seem to understand, but understanding wouldn't make her any less afraid of riding. Well, I'm sorry if I upset you.
The look Lottie gave her was surprisingly mischievous.
You made me really sad, Sarah Mama. Will you tell me a story now to cheer me up?
Is she not upset then? Well, if I am to play the mama. Have you finished all your schoolwork?
Oh.
If we look at some books together first, then I will tell you a story afterwards. Perhaps you would like to practice a bit of French.
I'm too little to speak French.
Oh, I see.
Sarah paused then, tapping her finger against her chin, saying nothing until Lottie could not bear it and burst out with,
What are you thinking?
It must be very quiet in French schools if none of the children can speak.
As little Lottie walked past the classroom, which should by any rights be empty at such a time, she heard a most curious sound. The noise was faint enough that most ears might have overlooked it, but even in its quietness, it was a sound with which Lottie was intimately familiar. It was the sound of a girl crying. And so it was that Lottie, who had never before been known for her sympathy, padded into the classroom and found, seated on the floor with her arms hugging her knees and her eyes streaming with tears, Lavinia Herbert.
Whoa.
What's the matter? Go away!
Lottie herself enjoyed being fussed over far too much to imagine that anyone else might truly mean it when she demanded to be left alone. Lottie came closer and laid her plump little hand on Lavinia's shoulder, petting the older girl as teachers had petted her.
There. Don't touch me!
She lashed out, arm and elbow striking the smaller child full force and knocking her away.
Ah!
Caught off balance, Lottie twisted and fell hard upon her knee, skidding slightly on the floor as she landed.
Ah!
Lavinia's tears had been quiet. Lottie's were anything but. Sarah was, at that time, in another room entirely, curled up in a window seat and enjoying a recently acquired book. Between one word and another, her concentration was disturbed by the sound of distant howling. For all the stories she told of heaven, Sarah would be the first to admit that she herself was not an angel. She felt obligated to leave her book and look after her adopted child, but she was not pleased about it. Thus, when she stomped into the classroom and found Lottie on the ground nursing her reddened knee, and Lavinia standing over her, Sarah herself felt quite snappish and unreasonable.
Stop this minute, you crybaby! Stop this minute! I'm not a crybaby. I'm not. You are. You nasty little spoiled thing. I should like to slap you. Sarah!
Sarah whirled on Lavinia, who appeared to be the root cause of the disruption of her reading and whose face was now quite dry.
Well, I should like to slap you.
Immediately ashamed, she struggled to restrain herself.
But I don't want to slap you. No, I do want to slap you, but I should like to slap you. But I won't, because we are not little gutter children. We are both old enough to know better.
Yes, Your Royal Highness. We are princesses, I believe. At least, one of us is.
It stung. It stung more bitterly than either of them could have expected. For Sarah to hear her beloved Fancy mocked in such a tone, she felt the blood rush up into her face and tingle in her ears. But she stopped herself. A princess did not fly into rages.
It's true. Sometimes I do pretend I am a princess. I pretend I am a princess so that I can try to behave like one.
Dear me, how grand. I hope when you ascend the throne that you won't forget us.
I won't.
You think you're the only one who's special? You're wrong. Just you wait, Sarah Crew. You'll see.
Lavinia left the room, her neck stiff, her head high.
Sarah, Mama, she...
Hush, hush, Lottie. It's all right. Never mind. Come and sit in the window seat with me, and I'll whisper a story to you.
Will you? Will you tell me about the diamond mines again?
Of course. I feel like Lavinia's got some other story I feel bad that I missed now. Like she had some, I don't know, some rough experience or something that made her so rotten, and now I don't know, and now she just seems obnoxious because I never listened to her story.
Why do you think she has some rough story?
Because why is she crying?
Maybe because Sarah Crew took away everything she ever valued.
Yeah, but that seems like a weird place to go cry. I don't know. I feel like there's more to it. Okay, anyways.
Maybe Emily took away everything she ever valued.
Yeah. Okay, sympathy. I need to rack that up a little bit, and I need to get patient. Need a little bit of knowledge. Oh, that can mean knowledge and patience. Okay, let's do that one. No, wait, no. That's the weird... No, I'm not doing that. Okay.
You have to remember that if it says equal to or double or whatever, that just means that you have to have that value first before it's any good.
Right.
I didn't really pay attention to what you picked the last time, but considering you got like 3 days of nothing,
Hey!
that may have been a part of it. I wasn't really paying attention to what you were picking, though.
I guess that's okay. The pressure's intense. These are not the things I need. This is terrible. That's respectable. That wasn't so good.
Mademoiselle, there is a letter for you.
Oh, another letter from Papa. It does not seem so long at all since his last letter. A longer wait might make me feel quite lonely and neglected, or risk him fading from my thoughts, but this is just right. I wonder if he has explored the diamond caves yet.
My dear little missus.
What?
It's funny when all of a sudden there's like a man voice amidst all these females.
This letter did not seem to be written in such boyish high spirits as usual. He was not very well, and was evidently overweighted by the business connected with the diamond mines.
You see, little Sarah, your daddy is not a businessman at all, and figures and documents bother him. He does not really understand them, and all this seems so enormous. It gives me a splitting headache even to consider these matters. Perhaps I am the one who should be away at school again, learning how to manage things. And if I was not feverish, I should not be awake through one half of each night, tossing about and spending the other half in troublesome dreams. If my little missus were here, I dare say she would give me some solemn, good advice and put my mind at ease. What wouldn't I give to have your little arms round my neck this minute? God grant that these matters be soon resolved, and grant me leave to return to England for a visit.
A visit? Oh, Mariette, my papa may be coming for a visit.
Are you sure, mademoiselle? It is a long way to travel. I do not wish you to be disappointed.
Well, he doesn't promise that he can, but he does say that he would like to.
She read a little further along.
He's also asking what I want for my birthday. Wouldn't it be lovely if my papa were here for my birthday?
Oui, mais je ne coupe pas toi.
I know. I mustn't vest my hopes on it, but it is a beautiful thing to believe.
She looked down at the letter and smiled.
Papa is asking if a doll would be an acceptable present. I told him I didn't want a lot of dolls, but he says a special doll might be a companion for Emily while I'm busy with classes.
That is a pretty thought.
Yes, she must be a very special doll. You see, I'm getting very old, and by the time of my next birthday, I do not think I should be given dolls anymore. This will be my last doll. There's something solemn about that, don't you think?
Of course, mademoiselle.
If I could write poetry, I am sure a poem about a last doll would be very nice. But I cannot write poetry. I have tried, and it made me laugh. It does not sound like Watts or Coleridge or Shakespeare at all.
Perhaps when you are completely too old for dolls, you will have more of a talent for poetry in exchange.
Do you think it could work that way? I never know how I will change, even though I am different every day.
Sarah set the letter aside and knelt to address Emily.
I should respect the last doll very much, but nothing could ever take your place. I hope you don't become jealous of each other and can be very good friends.
I am sure they will.
All right, Ermengarde. I have a feeling that the game is going to end on my birthday. Just seems like the kind of thing that would happen. It'll be the last doll. That's what the game will end.
Will it come to life and replace Sarah?
Oh, I hope not. All right, Ermengarde. Sarah, would you like to go for a walk? It is a lovely day. Well, no, it is not a lovely day, but it is as close to a pleasant day as we are likely to have in London, and nice girls always say it is lovely if they wish to go out. And I wish to go out with you, if that's all right.
Ermengarde's fingers flicked and fidgeted at the side of her skirt. Sarah caught her hand and clasped it.
We will make it a lovely day then, because you and I will be a part of it.
It was a pleasant day for London, clouded enough not to be overly warm, but without the blanket of fog and foul air that sometimes developed in the city's streets.
If we are fortunate, perhaps we might see some dragoons on patrol in the park. You like to watch the soldiers?
Her eyes warmed with remembrance.
Their uniforms are so bright, the red and gold makes any man look handsome, even if he has whiskers like a walrus. And the horses have high necks and beautiful glossy coats. They're full of energy. It makes me feel good, somehow, to see them, to think that they and I are in the same world and owe our loyalty to the same queen. Yes, that is how I felt sometimes when I saw Papa drill with his regiment, that I am proud to be a part of the British Empire. Oh!
Ermengarde's heart was lightened by the thought that one of her strange feelings was something that she shared with her idol. Encouraged, she continued.
Sometimes I think that if I were a boy, I might like to be a soldier. Then I could go on adventures in faraway places like your papa, India, or even Africa. If I were in the cavalry, I would have a fine red uniform and a shining helmet and a sword, and I would get to ride all the time on a black charger. I wouldn't feel so big and awkward all the time then. I could feel strong. I think it might be nice to protect people, to protect my country.
Sarah was caught up in the vision.
Perhaps you might even perform an act of great heroism to save lives at risk of your own, and then be knighted by the hand of Queen Victoria.
Ermengarde hid her face behind her hands.
No, I don't think that. That would never happen. Don't tease. I'm not teasing you. I think you would make a very good hero. You are kind, and that is the most important trait that a hero needs. But do you really wish that you were a boy? Oh, I don't know. Not really. Besides, if I were a boy and a soldier, my father would still be disappointed in me. How sad it is to forever feel that your father is not proud of you. Sarah? Yes? The next time that I go to visit my family, will you come with me? I'd like to be able to show you parts of England that aren't London. Maybe we could even go see my Aunt Eliza. The countryside is so much nicer than even the parks here. We could go through the woods and look for berries and mushrooms and...
She reined herself in.
You don't have to. Only if you wanted.
Sarah stopped in place. She turned to Ermengarde and placed her hands on her shoulders to make sure that her friend was looking.
I would love to go to the countryside with you.
She let go of Ermengarde then and laughed, a gay, bright sound that made the other girl smile to hear it.
To come all this way to England and then to see nothing but Miss Minchin's school. Surely that would not be right. Oh, Sarah, it will be lovely. Truly lovely. Not lovely because it is the polite thing to say. Only, do you have any old clothes? If we are to hunt in the woods or lie in the grass, you might not want to wear your best frocks. I am not sure. I have some dresses that are nicer than others, but nothing that is truly old. I could buy more clothes, but then they would be new. My aunt says that I am growing a great deal right now, though, and that soon I will not fit into some of my frocks, so I suppose that I will have old clothes then. You could borrow mine, if you wanted. If you outgrow something, then it might not fit you at all, but if I outgrow something, then for you it might be fine. Thank you.
She kissed Ermengarde on the cheek.
You see, you are very kind.
Ermengarde put her fingers against the soft curve of her cheek where Sarah's lips had touched and smiled.
Stay together now, girls. Keep in line.
It was Sunday, and the girls of Miss Minchin's Select Seminary walked together on their way back from services. The air was warm, and the foggy veil of London thin enough for sunlight to pass through. It seemed a day designed to inspire rest and relaxation. In that indolent atmosphere, only Sarah heard the fruitless cough of the beggar child. She could not have said whether it was the same child as before, nor did she take the time to consider the likelihood of such. She moved without thinking, her coin purse in hand.
Here's a sixpence. Go and buy yourself some fruit and something to drink.
After passing on her bounty, Sarah returned to the formation of schoolgirls, fully expecting to be scolded by Miss Minchin. Such was not to be.
Did you all see that, girls? Sarah's given you a very fine example of Christian generosity and kindness. We all know the importance of these virtues, but we often find it difficult to put them into practice in our daily lives. That's our Sarah.
Yes, our marvelous little princess.
How strange. Have I changed so much in the months that I have been here, or has Miss Minchin? Or could it be that we are both exactly as we always were, and something else has changed instead? My vigor is low. Okay. How am I gonna get my vigor back up?
Dancing.
That's just one, though. Initially, anyways. That gives me... I don't really need that stuff. That's 2 ways to get it. I could also get... I don't need artistry. I could use a little belief, so if that wouldn't be totally a loss. And sympathy. Okay. Done. Okay, that's good. Ha. Ho. Ho. Oh, that was a good week.
Yes, I would say that was a good week.
Hey, look at you. Aren't you quite generous with the compliments this evening? I'm only down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 points. That's pretty good.
So you'll eventually approach my level.
Are you the best princess of all?
I am the best princess of all. How kind of you to notice.
Thank you for having me to tea, Sarah. You know you are always welcome. Yes, but I still appreciate it. I don't think I should stop thanking you when you do nice things just because you've done them before and I've thanked you before. You are very sweet.
Sarah looked down at her tea. The sugar had already completely dissolved into the hot water. Its sweetness was not something that could be seen.
Ermengarde, do you know why Miss Minchin treats me differently? She does? I feel that she praises me every day, whether it's for being quick to finish my lessons or something so small as having an amiable smile. But you have a lovely smile, and you are very clever at your books, more than anyone. Everything she says is true. I must believe that if you say that it is so, but I don't feel that I am any more clever or amiable than I was some months ago, and I do not think she liked me so much then. Maybe it took Miss Minchin a while to realize just how wonderful you are. Some people aren't as quick at understanding things as you.
Sarah sighed to herself and took a sip of her tea.
A lot of nice accidents have happened to me. It just happened that I always liked lessons and books and could remember things when I learned them. It just happened that I was born with a father who was beautiful and nice and clever and could give me everything I liked. Perhaps I have not really a good temper at all. If you have everything you want and everyone is kind to you, how can you help but be good-tempered? I don't know how I shall ever find out whether I am really a nice child or a horrid one. Perhaps I'm a hideous child, and no one will ever know just because I never have any trials. Lavinia has no trials, and she is horrid enough.
Sarah rubbed the end of her little nose reflectively as she thought the matter over.
Well, perhaps that is because Lavinia is growing. Aren't we all growing? Lavinia is one of the eldest. I have heard it said that that age makes girls especially disagreeable, though I don't know why. I hope that I don't have to become angry all the time only because of growing older. Oh, I'm certain that you won't. You are a kind friend. Ooh. This is big. This is like best friends. I need to have 3 sympathy and 3 belief, though. Will I have that? Yes, I will. Okay.
When Ermengarde went looking for Sarah, she found her curled up in the window seat, reading a book. Now, Sarah had confided in Ermengarde some time earlier how much she disliked being interrupted when she was deeply absorbed in a fictional world. People who are fond of books know the feeling of irritation which sweeps over them at such a moment. The temptation to be unreasonable and snappish is one not easy to manage. Sarah had described it thus.
It makes me feel as if someone had hit me, and as if I want to hit back.
Ermengarde took one look at that intent little face and could not bear the thought of causing it such distress. Therefore, instead of calling for attention, she simply took a seat nearby and waited.
Wait. Oh, wrong voice. Wait.
Because she had few friends among the students of Miss Minchin's Select Seminary, Ermengarde was not entirely a stranger to being left alone with her own thoughts. For the most part, she had diligently tried to turn that extra time to revision, thumbing through the pages of her lesson books in the hopes that their wisdom would be imprinted upon her. In recent weeks, however, the distraction of Sarah, her stories, and the time that they spent together kept turning Ermengarde's attempts at studying into something more like daydreams. This did not help her lessons, but it did not seem to do them much harm either. Ermengarde glumly considered that it was because she was already as much of a failure as it was possible to be. Eventually, Sarah looked up from her book and noticed her friend nearby.
Oh, Ermengarde. I'm sorry. Were you looking for me? I didn't want to disturb you. Well, it's all right now.
She laid a ribbon bookmark across the pages and closed her book.
What were you thinking about?
Ermengarde found that she could not simply answer,
You.
even if perhaps it was the truth.
I was thinking about the museum that we went to. Do you remember the guide said the flying dragon skeleton, the pterodactyl, was found by a woman?
Sarah nodded.
Mary Anning. I forgot her name. You remember the important part. Pterodactyl.
She blushed and covered her mouth, ashamed at correcting Sarah in anything, but Sarah only nodded and indicated that she should go on.
The woman who found them wasn't even a lady, he said. She never went to a grand school. But she learned all about creatures by walking up and down the beach in Dorset and finding their bones. I thought if we were planning trips around England that perhaps we should go to the seaside. We could find seashells even if we don't find any fossils. Yes.
And now the book was set aside on the window seat, as Sarah's imagination drew her to her feet.
There are cliffs along the coast in Dorset, aren't there? And where there are cliffs, there might be caves. And where there are caves, there might be dwarves, or trolls, or pirate treasure. Oh, don't.
Ermengarde clapped her hands over her ears.
You'll get me all confused again between what's real and what isn't. Well, until we've been there, we don't know what's real. There certainly have been real pirates, like Captain Strangways, or Isaac Gulliver, the king of smugglers. And it is possible that they might have left buried treasure in a cave somewhere.
One of Sarah's books had included a history of wars, pirates, and weather-related sailing disasters around the English Channel. She was somewhat glad to have read it after her sea voyage rather than before.
We can't know whether we'll find a treasure or not until after we have looked for one, and then you will know it and not be confused. You know, I think you don't actually have so much trouble remembering when you have seen or done something yourself. It's only books that you can't remember. Oh no, I forget things all the time. But you remember all sorts of things about flowers and forests and birds and horses. You told me about 2 kinds of celandines, and about your aunt's dogs, and her flower pressing hobby. You remember where the fossils came from. You remember things that matter to you. Perhaps it's only books that you can't remember. But books are what should matter, at least to my father, and Miss Minchin, and you.
Sarah laid a hand on Ermengarde's shoulder.
I love books. They matter a great deal to me, but people matter more.
Now, Lottie, hold on to my hands. Will you pick me up? Not like that. Your wrists are not strong enough. Hold my hands like so. Now, take 1 foot up off the ground and stretch it out behind you. I feel all wobbly. That's why I'm holding on to you. Press on my hands and try not to lean forward as you stretch. This feels strange.
Sarah came into the room to find Jessie and Lottie engaged in some manner of dance practice.
Oh, Lottie, I can see your petticoats.
Sarah, Mama!
She let go of Jessie and rushed over to Sarah to demand a hug.
Will you play with us?
Play? I thought you were dancing.
We weren't exactly. I had an idea and wanted to see if she could do it.
But I would be happy to dance with you, Sarah, if you would like it.
Where is Lavinia? I would have expected her to be with you.
Lavinia has not been herself lately.
She sighed, twisting up her beautiful long hair and then letting it fall again.
Oh, Sarah, it's been so difficult. I've always admired Lavinia so very much, but now... Admired?
Quite unexpectedly, Lavinia swept into the room. Jessie's eyes went wide, her hands flying uselessly to cover her mouth.
Yes, you admired me, didn't you? Only now there's a little diamond girl for you to admire, isn't there? You're nothing but a useless sycophant, Jessie Abbott. Yes, I know what that word means. I know a lot of things, like things that nobody else does. Not even your precious Princess Sarah.
With a haughty tilt of her chin, she strode away. Jessie's eyes darted frantically back and forth, her cheeks taking on a lilac hue. Then, without a word, she crumpled the fabric of her skirt in her hands and hurried after Lavinia.
Sarah, Mama, what's a sycophant? A sycophant is someone who flatters an important person that they don't really like.
Why?
I don't know.
Alright, so that can wrap things up for this episode. Thank you very much for watching Trans play a little Lily Princess. We'll see you next time.
Thanks for watching. What were you thinking about?
Horses?
What?
It just seems random.
No, don't you remember her problem? I guess you're not a very good friend.
Oh, yeah, she's afraid of horses.
You're just not a good friend at all. What
She
kind
should
of
talk-
mother are you?
Not a good kind, apparently. She should talk to Ermengarde about horses and, like, I don't know, about how they are.
Oh, yes. What? Oh,
What are you, Sarah now?
fine.
You can do them all if you want to. I'll sit back and watch you. Wouldn't it be lovely if my papa were here for my birthday?
I don't know. What do you think that says?
Oui, mais je ne comprends pas trop.
Fine.
Oui, mais je... Hold on. Mais je ne comprends pas. Is it a silent?
I think so. I feel like it should be.
Tro? Or with no P?
No idea.
I'll probably edit this portion out. Because at this point we're just stumbling over it, so it'll be more frustrating than funny.
Oui, mais je ne comprends pas trop.
Let me keep going until I sing like
Oui, mais je ne... Oui, mais je ne...
how do you... What
I don't think that's real French.
It might be.
Je ne comprends pas trop. Oui, mais je ne comprends pas trop.
Alright, I'll edit that together. Move on.
I know.